I have a great Twitter poll that we really could do. Who's worse, Kanye West or Alex Jones? Ooh. Ooh. Welcome to episode 55 of Beyond the Bench on the Empty the Bench podcast network. Nick Fodera, Nick Morgasen. Massive show for you today as we head towards the end of the year for 2022. Follow the show on social media as you see it going across the bottom at Beyond the Bench 1, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Nick, how's your week been?
Well, I was disgustingly full as we went into Thanksgiving, but now that the holiday season has arrived in spirit and in actually material form, so you know what? Let's get into some weird shit.
We're going to get into a weird territory, and the clips are going to be interesting this week. I'll say that right off the bat, depending on what we decide, but I'll give you a little tease before we head into this whole episode. By the way, I got a haircut for like the first time in like 2 months. Like, I feel like I have no hair on my head now. Like, if you look at the top of my head, like, well, you look like
there's nothing left.
You look like you're balding. Not that I should talk, because I'm starting to lose my hair too. But we got a lot interesting episode for you today. Kim and Kanye are going to be the center of this episode. Yes, I know we have a rule. We try to stay away from the pop culture nonsense, but this story is so incredibly funny now.
I mean, at this point, we are kind of a pop culture nonsense podcast anyway.
Well, we are, but I try to stay away from the Hollywood drama.
But the problem is Kanye keeps making news.
Kanye keeps making news, and
in all the worst ways. I mean, if somebody had cured cancer, we probably wouldn't have been. People probably wouldn't have been debating this as fervently as we're doing. Kanye having a mental breakdown.
I'd rather have the doctor that cured cancer than talk about Kanye.
But yeah, believe me, I would much rather be talking about anything else. Same thing with Kyrie. But you know what?
You know what the sad part is?
Yeah, so we gotta cover it.
I'd rather talk about how much I hate Mariah over how much we talk Kanye.
Oh, be careful! Be careful where you sling that. I mean, it's the holiday season. It's Mariah's time.
Oh, I could care less.
It's Mariah's time of year. Don't piss our fans off. I've learned that firsthand.
All I want for Christmas is you. Yeah. But yes, we will talk about.
If any Mariah fans are watching this episode right now, he did it, not me.
It's me. Yes, you can say it's me. I'm okay with that. But yes, we'll get into
pleasure with him on Twitter. Go ahead.
It's fine. I don't care. Also, we'll get into a bombshell with Casey Anthony on a new Peacock series, which is probably pissing us off the most, and the whole world. I was about to say the whole country. The whole world is probably pissed off at Casey Anthony right now. Also, in more forms of being pissed off, Matt Lauer has come out and spoken again for the first time in years.
Well, you know what? I mean, this is the theme of the episode really should be opinions people gave but no one asked for.
Exactly. Also, George Takei versus William Shatner, which is kind of funny to me.
I know what side I'm on.
Right. Also, Twitter says it will no longer enforce the COVID misinformation policy, which I don't know what to think about that.
And Elon we have come full circle, and we end up in December the same way we started out in March, with Elon Musk just entangling himself in Twitter, inside Twitter's very fabric. So you can't really get. It's like a stain you can't wash out.
It's kind of like when you get wine on a shirt, and they say, "Well, if you just use hairspray," or like, it doesn't always work. Also, more layoffs, more big company layoffs. That seems to be a theme lately in our show. Like, come to us if you want to know where the layoffs are. We're going to tell you.
But if you're working for those companies and you find out that you got laid off on this show, I mean, we're happy to perform the service, but I really think you really shouldn't be at that job if you're finding out from us.
Yeah, that's not good. Also, Kansas Cameron Bure is doubling down, including unfollowing one of her co-stars. Who is that co-star? We'll tell you a little bit later. And then we end the show on a woman suing Kraft Foods.
And yeah, we had to end with the funny one. But let's begin, shall we?
Yeah, so let's begin. We're going to start in Stupid Land with Kanye reportedly had dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and with white nationalist Nick Fuentes, who I think is also a Holocaust denier.
He's a Holocaust denier and avowed Christian nationalist and a white nationalist. And I'm not putting words in his mouth. He said that.
Now, no, he said it directly.
Now, for those of you who are blissfully offline and have no idea who the fuck this little twerp is, I envy you, because having to track this story over Thanksgiving and then right up until this moment, it's just taken so much out of me. So let me see if I can give you the Cliff Notes version, shall I?
Well, I have one question though. If Trump was really trying to run for president, which he says he is, even though he technically couldn't because by law, technically he's under investigation, so he technically shouldn't be allowed to run for president, but we all know Trump doesn't follow the rules. Why the fuck would you have dinner with a white nationalist and Kanye West if you want any sanity left?
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's what reportedly happened. So Trump goes on Truth Social, his Twitter knockoff.
The ironic name of his social media company.
Yeah, which what Irony Social wasn't taken already? Jesus. I mean, so he puts on Truth Social that Kanye West and Nick Fuentes showed up at Mar-a-Lago and they had dinner together. Although the tone of that, do you call them tweets on Truth Social?
No, they're called. I think they're called truths. Actually,
Truths?
Yeah, I think that's what they call them.
God.
Ironically.
Yeah, you call it. Yeah, he truthed about Kanye West and Nick Fuentes showing up unexpected, out of nowhere, and having dinner with him. It was uneventful in Trump's words, and apparently he detected no white nationalist or no anti-Semitism in Kanye in the conversation they had.
Oh, please. Give me a break.
And he was kind of downplaying it. He was kind of downplaying. Oh, they just showed up, and we just spoke for a couple of minutes, and then they had dinner, and then they left. It was uneventful.
By the way, you noticed that Kanye likes to sensationalize all his stories?
Did he say that he went there? Did he say that he was invited?
I think he was invited by. He said he was invited by Trump.
He says he was invited by him, him and Nick Fuentes, who he's palling around with, because we're witnessing a man in the throes of a mental breakdown. I mean, he is totally. He might be disassociating. I mean, I'm no armchair psychologist, but I have no idea how the Kanye from 2008 and the Kanye from 2022, it's hard to believe that they're the same person.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, just to give you some context on Nick Fuentes, he gained notoriety after participating in the 2017 white supremacist Unite the rally in Virginia.
He was in Charlottesville.
Oh, that whole situation.
It was in Charlottesville, and the dickheads in polo shirts and tiki torches go, Jews will not replace us. And, the one where Heather Heyer was run over by a car driven by a nut job. So
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Just basically angry racists lashing out. And
let's put it this way. This is a story that you can't win on whatsoever.
This is a story that you can't win on. And there are no clear. I mean, Trump is kind of the ancillary figure in this story, because it's like, it's bad for him because, again, you're an American president, or you're an American ex-president, and you're palling around with white nationalists and anti-Semite. I mean, someone who is espoused anti-Semitic views, which should be enough to label him as an anti-Semite. But still, this is really par for the course for him, because, again, if you kiss his ass enough, Trump, he'll do what he'll compliment you. He'll compliment you from here to sundown, and it's all you have to do is just flatter him, and he'll do whatever you want.
But there's another bizarre part to this story as well. So Kanye keeps putting out on Twitter and on social media that he was asked to be Trump's running mate.
And I don't fucking believe that. I don't fucking believe that at
You
all.
think Trump, who already has issues, is going to have as his running mate someone who's never been in the political world before?
The man who's accused of breaking pretty much every crime we have a law for, except for murder.
And you're going to put Kanye as a running mate? Like what?
But how toxic? But how toxic is the situation that Trump is even distancing himself from this guy? It's
Well,
like
no.
even
And
that
by the
guy's
way,
like, oh no, the
and
guy
by
who
the
said there
way,
were fine people on both sides after Charlottesville.
and by the way, anyone who comments on this, because we've had comments before and we've talked about politics on here, I don't want to hear shit from the Kanye supporters and the Trump supporters. This is never going to work. It's never going to work. We're talking logically. Forget the politics.
Also,
Okay?
you know, you're Jewish, so
Right, but I'm just saying, forget the politics. We're not talking about it from a political angle. We're talking about it from a stupidity angle.
yeah,
That
it's just profoundly stupid. And look, we've tried as hard as we can. We've bent over backwards to try and remain as free from politics as we can. And I'm not talking about fence sitting. I'm talking about, you know what? That's not because
and by the way, just to before anyone tries to accuse us of being one side or the other, I worked in a right-wing radio station for 4 years and I hated it. Okay? So anyone who says to me I'm taking a side, I'm not taking a side.
I mean, there is, you know, the side of the white nationalists and the anti-Semites, and I don't know if that's a side really anybody wants to be on.
No, no one. Oh, this is bizarre. And in my opinion,
It's about the difference between right and wrong. I mean, it's not about. I mean, you can look. We've obviously failed in our ability to in our ability to discuss politics, but it's just become so all encompassing, so freak show esque.
well, wait a minute. Did you see the other weird thing that apparently Trump mocked Kim during the conversation?
Now, who was it that said that?
Kanye is saying it again. Kanye is
Was saying
sensationalizing
that he
everything.
mocked Kim Kardashian in a, as in fuck him, he made fun of my ex-wife, or he made fun of my ex-wife. Awesome.
Kanye also claimed Trump insulted him and ex-wife Kim Kardashian during the visit. Quote, but then he goes on to say that Kim is a bleep. You can tell her I said that, he said. And I was thinking, like, that's the mother of my children. Since we and all the Christians in America that love Trump know that Trump is a conservative, we're going to demand that you hold all policies directly to the Bible.
So I guess they're warring with each other. I guess both parties are kind of.
I'm confused. I thought,
you know, they said.
God, I'm so confused right now. Like, I thought Kanye and Trump were on the same wavelength. I guess they're not.
I mean, they kind of. They kind of are. Especially, it's just Kanye's a little bit further down the rabbit hole than and I didn't think it was going to get to this point. But you know what? The man clearly needs help. Even the day of this recording, this morning, Kanye was on InfoWars with Alex Jones talking about how Hitler did good things, and he's not willing to make fun of it, and he's not. Maybe we should stop making fun of, or not stop making fun of, but stop being angry at Nazis the whole time. It's like, what?
Well, I have a great Twitter poll that we really could do. Who's worse, Kanye West or Alex Jones?
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Not saying I would actually put that up, but that's a great debate, right?
Yeah, that was.
It's a great debate because I want to see who.
Alex Jones is getting sued for $50 gajillion. So.
He's already lost some of those cases.
So
he's bankrupt. He's allegedly bankrupt now.
But again, this is because I think that's why people are trying to save, not necessarily save Kanye, but I think a lot of people, you know, everybody. I'm not even talking about something that goes across ideological lines. I'm talking about maybe people are just having trouble wrapping their heads around what's happened to him. And I'll admit it. I have trouble making heads or tails of it. I do.
How about just instead of making heads or tails of it, we just say no mas and move on?
We could do that.
Well,
definitely do that.
there's a part 2 to this whole thing. This is more Kanye, this part. So Kim and Kanye divorce settled. Kim gets $200,000 a month in child support. Nope, you're not. That's not a typo, ladies and gentlemen. Kanye is forking over $200,000 a month to Kim in child support.
So after he lost his deal with Yeezys, which is really that's not an example of woke capitalism, as if there is such a thing.
No, Kanye's just stupid.
It's really the market saying, Kanye, I mean, we're out, dude. We can't be seen with this. But he has $200,000 a month to give away.
First of all, and I've asked many people about how that whole thing works when you have kids and divorce settlement and life.
I feel sorry for his kids. I mean, Jesus.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me ask the theory I have, because I've asked my parents about this and they don't know either, because it's a weird position. When you get divorced and you have kids and you live a certain life, I don't understand that. When the woman will say sometimes, well, I was living a rich life, so I need to be able to live the life that I was living. So give me $100,000 a month. I don't understand that. Do you understand that?
I mean, no, but you know, when rich couples get divorced, I mean.
And by the way, Kim doesn't need them for the child support. Yes, I mean, but Kim doesn't need the money.
It's not necessarily, I mean, about needing the money. It's about, hey, you know, do your fair share here.
Wait, but you're telling me Kim was not living that life already of rich mediocrity without Kanye?
I mean, yeah, she was, but
by the way, she apparently reportedly has a $60 million mansion. $200,000 a month? Are you kidding me?
That's how child support payments work, I guess.
Now I know they have. I think they have 6 kids. I think. Which,
I have no idea.
Well, part of them. Well, she couldn't really have kids, really anymore. It had to be done through a
IVF, I think.
No. She had someone carry the kid.
Well, a surrogate.
Which scares me every time, because that's a celebrity's child you're walking around with.
Renting out your uterus, I guess. You know, yeah. I can't wrap my head around it, but again.
So apparently. Oh, go ahead.
See, this is the problem, because his kids are. I could just imagine what they're going through right now, which is why I've said all along, I really hope that man gets the help he needs.
He's not gonna. What did I tell you? The first step to knowing what's going on is
admitting you have a problem.
Oops. Not happening. He's never going to admit he has a problem.
But it doesn't make it any less ugly or any less ugly to witness.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but he's never going to admit he has a problem. And also, by the way, apparently the agreement says that they're supposed to have equal access to the kid. Now, according to Kanye, he's acknowledged Kim already has the kids 80% of the time. I would say Kim is probably safer for the kids than Kanye.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And by the way,
Kim's kind of a bad look if you do bring any one of your kids on InfoWars.
Oh God,
but no problem.
Now let me say one thing: Kim is not Mother of the Year award material either.
I mean, I don't know how she is as a mother. She could be. I mean, she could be Mrs. Doubtfire for all we know.
Wow, haven't heard that phrase in a while.
I mean, she could be Supermom. We don't know.
But it says, according to the settlement, Kanye. Well, if you watched the show, she actually is a pretty good mother to her kids. But that's a reality show. You don't know how much they stage of that.
Yeah.
But according to the settlement, Kanye will pay Kim $200,000 a month of child support. Kanye's not footing the full bill for child support, apparently. Just his share.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently the judge. I think the judge determines how much he pays based on how much money he actually has. So I think that's where it comes from. He's
responsible for 50% of their kids' educational expenses, including tuition. He's also responsible for 50% of their children's security expenses. Security expenses! What? Why? Because they're famous? Security expenses?
Yes, exactly. Because you don't know. I mean, famous people. You don't know how many crazies there are out there that are looking to kidnap those kids and get it.
No, I understand, but he has to pay for 50% of the pay for your own security expenses.
It's rich people. They can afford more. They can afford more than we can. She brings in more in a month than I'll probably ever see in my lifetime. Hopefully not, but
she could. If a company asks her to tweet something, apparently she makes like 50 to 80,000 just to put out a tweet about a company.
So you can get $80,000 just by tweeting the word Skittles.
Well, not. It has to be like a promotional, like an influencer post on social media,
which again is a lot more than a lot of people's annual salary in this country. So
no shit. It also says if there's ever a dispute regarding the children. Now, this I find this kind of funny, actually. Kim and Kanye agree they will participate in mediation. They hate each other now. What do you mean they're going to participate in mediation? Oh, it says if one of them failed to participate, the other gets to make the decision in a dispute by default. Watch, Kim's going to have to make all the decisions. Watch.
Yeah, this is going to be... yeah, this is...
And you ready for... I'll give you one more bizarre fact, and then we can move on from this whole thing. As for the $200K a month, it's due the 1st of every month.
So it's December... So it's December 1st right now. So Kanye should be paying that $200,000 a month.
I don't know. We don't know when the whole thing starts. It was just agreed upon.
Again, well, you know what? I don't, like I said, it's depressing to watch this man spiral downwards. But you know what?
He kind of, as you would say, he made the bed. Now he's got to lie in it.
Again, this was all your own words.
If it wasn't for him,
you did this to yourself.
If it wasn't for him being a crazy maniac, they'd probably still be married. He'd probably still have all his business deals, and we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens, doesn't it?
And by the way, it also says, not that this is not creepy at all. It's due the 1st day of each month, and it must be wired into her account. That's not creepy at all.
And just make sure you slide it under the door in a big brown paper bag.
Just be careful; there might be shit in it, and it might get lit on fire. You remember those old days? They used to do that as pranks.
It's funny because I always heard media about, people pulling a prank about flaming dog shit, but I never actually saw it in practice.
I've never seen it, just in movies.
Yeah, I only ever saw it in a movie. I never actually saw it in practice. It's like, who would go to that trouble?
I don't know, but I just find the Kardashians are a clown show, dog show, whatever you want to call them at this point. By the way, did you see how many people got mad at the dog show this year during Thanksgiving?
Why? Because the English Bulldog one?
No, get rid of this because I can't talk about the dog show with that being up. No, people are just mad because they said it's a tradition to have the dog show every year.
I mean, I don't watch it.
I've never watched it either.
I mean, I think those dogs are a little stuck up, but
You remember the one year there was a controversy?
People dogs.
Do you remember there was a controversy of the winner one year? I think it was a couple of years ago.
About what?
Because apparently the winner, the person who owned the dog, was cordial with one of the judges.
Ooh.
So they had to excuse themselves and leave.
Of course. Excuse or recuse?
Maybe, whatever. Well, recuse themselves, I guess. But
why can't it be something simple like a bobcat? Somebody tried to sneak a bobcat in there and it was a dog.
Oh my god.
Now, currently this dog is gnawing on my jugular. I don't know if that's going to come out in the final score, but let's find out what the judges are doing. And they're running away in terror. Wonderful.
They're running away screaming. All right. Speaking of terror, this next story, which you and I were discussing, Casey Anthony makes bombshell claims about daughter's death in first ever on-camera interview. Now, before we get into this,
So for those in
well,
our audience that don't know who Casey Anthony is, in 2008, she was a young mother and was accused
wait,
of
2008 or 2011?
2008 disappearance. She was connected to the 2008 disappearance of her 3-year was it the 3-year-old daughter?
Two.
Yeah, her
2-year-old daughter.
Taylor.
I can't forget it.
She lied to the investigators about where she was and what exactly occurred on that day that she went missing, and then the daughter's body was found 31 days later. She was acquitted in 2011, and at the time, everybody thought this woman absolutely did it. I mean, she killed her son, and the family helped cover it up, and that was the prevailing, national mood at the time. Because for those of you who are too young to remember, but there were certain criminal cases that were fucking everywhere. In the wake of OJ, there were the Scott Peterson case.
This was on TV every freaking day,
pretty much every fucking day.
I was watching it. I had my eyes glued to it when it was on TV.
And this was a time before they had true crime podcasts. So if somebody kills somebody else, you can't just make a podcast about it. So 10 years later,
you're talking about that case that proved that person innocent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this case, going back to Casey Anthony, this was nuts. There was national media attention all over it.
So she was acquitted in 2011 of charges of murder, manslaughter, and child abuse. And I'm quoting directly from the story here. So
yeah,
11 years later, she has a documentary, a tell-all, I think, interview,
a
docuseries, where that she participated in, that was streaming on Peacock, and in it.
First of all, before you go into this, shame on you, NBC. Seriously.
Everything is content, and content is everything.
No, I don't give a shit. Sorry, Nick. Wait, time out. I don't give a shit.
I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what their thinking is.
No,
but murder is too gruesome. Murder is an industry.
My question is, if she did it, would they go and do the docuseries in the jail?
Probably.
No, they wouldn't, because
you know how many docuseries Netflix has made about convicted murderers?
No, I understand, but people would be like, "Oh, you can't do that. She's in jail for murder." Blah.
They did that to the guy who owned the tiger farm, and he tried to have somebody killed.
Well, you're talking about the Tiger King, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name now, but he actually mentioned what?
Joe Exotic.
Yes, but he was an asshole in every way, shape, or form. Now, so is she.
However, this is a different beast.
Well, you know what really chapped me big time? That she went up on the stand and was trying to act all innocent as it was going on.
Yeah, that was the big part of that. That was a part of the mood, the public opinion kind of shifting against her, because for those first 31 days, it was she had lied to, I think, the FBI, saying
yes,
the kid had been with a babysitter and
right. Yes,
but there was no such babysitter, and
wasn't it true that supposedly, allegedly, she dumped the kid in the lake?
The prosecutor said either she did or somebody, either the kid's father did, and she covered up for it.
And also, didn't they also prove that she was searching all these weird things on Google also?
Yeah, and she did not. Yeah, and about how to I don't know if it was on the nose as how to dispose of a body, but it was something.
It was something to that effect.
A little bit suspicious.
It was something to that effect of how to dispose a body. I do remember that.
But she didn't call 911, and she didn't.
No, she tried to say, "Oh, someone took my kid." That's what she did.
And she didn't, and she didn't do it. So, which brings us to today. Which brings us to the present as of right now. So, She made a couple of claims in this documentary saying that she was she was a victim of rape. She was abused by her father abused her, and basically blaming Kaylee's disappearance on her own on the kid's father.
Wait. Time out. So she's blaming her shitty life on this whole thing?
There's generational trauma, and then there's being accused of killing your own daughter because of the.
No, but hold the phone. She's blaming her shitty life and her father for the way things went?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, probably.
I'm
The
sorry,
fact
that's not an excuse to.
I think the point she's trying to make is that I failed to protect my own daughter because of the horrible things that I've had to go through, and you know the she was apparently she was raped when she was 18, and you know she was abused by her father,
Okay,
like
but
I just said.
that doesn't make it
But
right, though.
doesn't make it right. Again, and it doesn't really provide a valid excuse
And by
if
the
you
way,
did this to your daughter.
wait a second. So I'm reading, she lied to investigators. Quote, it was the right guilty verdict. I did lie to law enforcement. I admitted that I lied to law enforcement, so I'm a convicted liar. What the fuck? What? What do you mean? Why is it the police and like the what? Am I missing something here?
I have a hard time believing that America has a hard time believing that that she had nothing to do with it.
No. She said that I lied to law enforcement and I'm a convicted liar. Admitting to doing it?
No, she's admitted to lying to investigators, not that she killed their daughter.
But if you lied, wait a minute. Wait, whoa. How can you lie to the law enforcement and not? Isn't that? Aren't you saying you did it? If that's what you're saying?
Yeah, well, she was guilty. She was convicted of 4 misdemeanor counts of lying to investigators. So she was in prison for a short time because of that. But she didn't get the book thrown at her because she would the manslaughter, the murder convictions were thrown out, or she was found not guilty of, I should say.
I'm sorry though, but lying to investigators because you had a bad childhood is not an excuse.
And she says she still doesn't know what happened. So
what? What do you mean she doesn't know what happened?
My problem, really, because it's obvious. It's obvious that even if the stuff she's saying, the stuff that she's saying happened to her happened. It's, believe me, it's very tragic, and it's a damaging thing to happen. It's a horrible thing if it happened. But again, that doesn't give you an excuse to kill your own daughter if you did it.
Wait a minute.
At least lie for somebody who did.
Wait a minute. She also alleged that Kaylee was a product of rape at a house party after being drugged?
Yeah, when she was 18.
What? This is all just coming out now? This didn't come out in the court case?
I don't think. Well, it wasn't really I don't think it was really relevant.
Oh, God. Why is she saying this in a docuseries? Why do you want
because you can't get convicted for it again? So
no. But I'm saying is, why do you want your skeletons out of the closet?
But again, the problem that I have is, look, discounting the if she did it, if she didn't do it, we'll never know. We'll never know unless she says something. Unless somebody says something, or
is there a statute of limitations? But how long has this case been gone for now?
13 years.
So I guess the statute of limitations is probably up on it, right?
Well, she was already. It's the double jeopardy thing. You can't get.
But all this stuff that you're saying, though,
convicted of the same crime twice.
So in her mind, she's basically saying, "Oh well, they can't convict me again. I'm just going to say everything now."
I guess. I mean, maybe she genuinely doesn't realize what happened. It really doesn't pass the smell test. But look, my problem is also, I shouldn't say more with, because it is also Peacock, because why the fuck are you putting this woman in front of a camera that she
But
can lie again?
it says also Anthony recounted the morning her daughter likely died for the camera. She said that morning she woke up to make her daughter breakfast, but quote wasn't feeling that great. She went back to bed, turned on the TV, and Kaylee laid in bed with her. Quote, I've been a light sleeper my entire life. Because I'm used to someone opening the door while I'm asleep, I'm used to being on alert, especially with my child next to me. It's part of the reason she slept in bed with me so much. Like, why are you saying all this now? Like, I don't understand. Do you?
No.
So what? You're gonna make everyone want to go after you more. Remember, like she basically had to go into witness protection after this all went down.
Yeah, she did.
And like she was trying to get a job as a photographer. That was also kind of creepy. Because like she was really into photography and no one was going to hire her. She had to change her name. Do you remember that?
Yeah, she did, I think.
I just don't understand. So
again, but it's content and everything is content, right?
I don't give two shits. When does it become an issue for like the family or like the friends?
It should. Believe me, because look, we could debate for hours upon. We could debate for days about the ethics of all these true crime shows. I mean, is it voyeurism? Are you exploiting the victims?
This is not even a true crime show, though.
But it seems really, really fucking, really fucking crass.
By the way,
it really does.
NBC is exploiting a dead person,
a dead child,
sorry, excuse me, dead child, 2-year-old dead child for money. I'm sorry,
and that's my fucking problem.
And by the way, Casey Anthony's going to make money.
Let's work under the assumption that she didn't do it. Let's work under the assumption that the grandfather did it and not her.
I don't care who it is.
That's what she's saying.
You know that's the biggest load of bullshit, right?
I mean, I guess that's what she's implying, but even let's take that. Let's take that. Let's take that for granted for just a moment, shall we?
Okay.
And let's say that you didn't do it, your grandfather did, but why are you in a documentary series? Why would you want to fucking talk about this shit ever again?
And first of all,
anybody but your fucking psychologist.
Well, I can tell you part of why she did it. It's not a good thing, but
the money.
She probably needed the money. But when does exploiting your own family? When did that become more valuable?
But that's what the true crime. With all these podcasts and all these Netflix series and all these HBO documentaries, there is a line. Look, there is a line between depiction and exploitation, and
she's selling out her own family.
I'm sorry, but I'm of the opinion that a lot of these programs not only cross that line, they jump over that line.
Yeah, but wait a second.
Over that line.
Time out. This is not a crime show. This is a docuseries that Peacock is putting out.
About a crime.
Right, but if this was an actual, like, crime series, like, done on one of those networks that does all the crime stuff, maybe...
Look, the best way to consider this is like a long-form version of a segment on 2020.
2020.
Or on Dateline.
Or on Dateline.
Or something you would see on 60 Minutes.
But maybe if this was like a long form interview with what's her name on ABC, who comes back and does
Barbara Walters.
No, the other one, Diane Sawyer.
Diane Sawyer.
Like Diane Sawyer, who's like semi-retired, does really good interviews on investigative stories for ABC. But this is not that. Okay, this is not this name who I don't like, George Stephanopoulos, sitting down and interviewing Sam Bankman-Fried. For the FTX scandal. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
This is like serious shit. This is serious shit.
It is serious shit. And you know what? There are certain things that just should not be made. It should not be made into docuseries.
It's like, and the last thing that really chapped me big time, instead of calling 911 or trying to revive Kaylee, Anthony said her father took Kaylee and told her it was going to be okay. What?
So something happened. Something happened, and somebody knows something.
By the way, based on that line, it sounded like she was the first one there.
Yeah, because Casey, don't piss on my head and tell me it's rain.
Right. Or don't piss in the snow and tell me that it's
Oh,
lemon ice.
Yeah, lemon snow cone.
That was a Family Guy reference for most people who don't know that. But where Brian tells Stewie, "Oh, look, it rained lemon ice." By the way, I'm not trying to make jokes out of this, but this is a bizarre story. All right, let's move on. We spent a lot of time on this. Speaking of, what did you say the episode was based on again this week, Nick? A lot of people you didn't want to hear opinions from?
Opinions from people you don't like that you didn't ask for.
So let's do it again. Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer remains withdrawn 5 years after today exit. By the way, it was not an exit. Everyone who keeps writing that it's an exit, you are a bunch of fucking idiots. Quote, talking to people from his past is painful. Gee, I wonder why.
As painful as the women you sexually assaulted?
As painful as that stupid button you had under your desk, which closes the door, allegedly.
You philandering piece of shit.
I'm sorry. Like, I see these stories every once in a while on Matt Lauer that, like, he's suffering. Oh, yeah. You're suffering, all right.
Sorry. Oh, he's real sorry.
You're suffering at the $20 million a year you made from NBC, including the money you got to keep because you legally fought for it. I have no sympathy for this man at all.
Literally no sympathy.
Zero.
Literally no sympathy. I mean, at this point,
he's also mad at Katie Couric because she put out that tell-all book.
Yeah, because she didn't defend him. So.
Well, because they apparently he says they work together. I don't know how much they actually work together.
Well, how close they actually were? You mean?
Right. I don't know
because I remember Ann Curry had a big problem with it too.
Because everyone has this perception that when you work with these people for many years, you're close. That's not true.
That's not always the case.
I mean,
apparently it wasn't the case during the Today Show.
I mean, go ask. Did you see the story allegedly about GMA3? What happened with TJ and whoever's hosting GMA3? They were both in marriages for 12 years. Now, apparently.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. Yeah, they're cheating with each other.
Think about that, though. You have two people who you think are like, and they had good chemistry. Now, apparently, they're dating.
There is real drama in morning TV. But you know what? This
is bizarre. This is just bizarre world with Matt Lauer.
This is bizarre because nobody asked Matt Lauer a fucking thing.
No one cares. Like
nobody asked him a fucking thing.
By the way, I used to be sick of the amount of time he was on TV. Like you would just see him everywhere. He hosted everything.
And now you have a reason to hate him.
Well, when I heard this whole thing come out that he had a button and he was under his desk like the movies or like the superhero thing.
It was kind of an open secret how much of a pig he was. So
and like he was doing it to interns allegedly.
And
also,
we were even talking about this even far back as the Unspoken Podcast days.
Yeah, I remember that, and just this was weird and bizarre, and I have no sympathy for this man whatsoever. You made plenty of money. And you held the secret for many, many years, and finally, an intern who
think of all the women whose careers you impacted negatively because you couldn't keep it in your fucking pants.
And by the way,
you had to be a fucking pig.
Kudos to that intern who got fired apparently and was willing to speak up. You don't get that.
Sometimes all it takes is one person, and then the floodgates open.
And by the way. His wife, I think, left him too. And he was apparently he was surprised by that, allegedly. Also, I'm like, dude, like you're a dick.
I didn't realize he was that oblivious.
And he has 3 kids apparently. Also, I feel bad. You want to say feel bad for kids? I feel bad for his kids.
Well, his kids are grown by now, but I'm
One is 21, one is 19, one is 16.
I mean, it's like, dude, what do you need Al Roker to tell you what the forecast is for your relationship?
Oh my God. And Al Roker's going through his own health issues too.
Yeah, but that's not exactly
I know.
related.
No, I'm just saying, but like, I don't know. NBC's had some weird issues in morning television.
No, you think?
And like you said, when I ask for your opinion, I'll wait for it.
I want your opinion, I'll ask for it.
I didn't ask for it. This is the first time I've heard Matt Lauer speak in years. I don't get it. And Katie Couric, by the way, bravo, because Katie Couric didn't have to speak up at all.
She didn't need to say anything. Just let him dig his own hole.
Well, he dug that hole all the way to China, and he fell in a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't let the door hit you on the ass. I hope you stay under that rock and never come out.
Don't let the door hit in the way, hit in the ass on the way out.
So,
Oh boy!
wait, so he was allegedly. I'm looking at it again. So he was fired out. Oh, it was a network employee. I thought it was an intern. It actually was a network employee, and her name was revealed. And it was reported he sexually harassed her. Gee, that sounds like a common issue in network television, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
But I don't understand. I just really don't. All right. Move on to a weirder story. This is more something you would know about than I would. George Takei calls William Shatner a cantankerous old man and says none of the Star Trek cast got along with him. This just made me laugh.
What are you assuming that you assuming just because I'm a nerd that I'm a Trekkie too?
Well, I didn't watch Star Trek, so.
Well, you'd be half right, but still. You'd be half right, but George Takei and William Shatner not getting along. In other breaking news, grass is green and water is wet.
Right, and by the way, I've
been going at this back and forth for years, though.
And by the way,
everybody says that William Shatner is an acquired taste as a human being.
Well, by the way, I've kind of lost my fandom at all. I used to like George Takei. Now I think he's become too political on social media.
Oh, there you go again with the too political. What now?
He's too political. You don't see half the shit he posts.
Because he's gay and he feels like
no, I don't have a problem with that. I have no problem with that.
No, because he's speaking out about people getting about gay people getting gunned down in nightclubs.
I said I have no problem with that. When something major happens.
And he was talking about the family separation at the border when Trump was president. We're talking about a man who, when he was a kid, was in an internment camp.
Okay, and like I said, I have no problem with him talking about his life and all that stuff. But when he is very political on social media, very.
Yes, exactly.
And him and Tim Allen.
Tim Allen's on the other side of the spectrum because you just mentioned the word woke to him, and he just
goes off on a tangent.
He just crumbles into billion teeny tiny pieces.
You're right, but I don't know. This just made me laugh because why can't we just get along?
None of the Star Trek cast got along. Of course, they've been saying that for years. They don't like each other that much.
You know, they use what they say about shows that are really good.
The William Shatner roast, the Comedy Central did.
That was really funny.
12 years ago.
Yes, but I was going to say, you know what they say about good television? Like usually, the chemistry is good on set, but off the set, no one cares or knows.
Well, you know what? You know how to fix this problem? You
just stop talking about it?
No, send George Takei into space and then have him come back. So now we're all even. It's not fair. It's not fair that William Shatner should be the only one of the Star Trek cast to actually go to space.
You do know that most of those celebrities paid. Remember, that's why Tom Hanks wouldn't go?
Yes, I understand that, but you know what? Don't even restrict it to the original series. Get Patrick Stewart up in the spaceship too. I want to see Jean-Luc Picard actually in space.
That reminds me of Family Guy, where they brought back the
Next Generation.
It's like, how did we get here? From Stewie's time machine?
Yeah.
I just
God,
the bizarro world. But I don't know. I just find this funny that they didn't get along. Well, gee, maybe they didn't get along for as long as they were doing the show. Maybe.
And they've been talking about it for years.
Right. I've heard that rumor many times.
They've been talking about it for years. People have written books about it. I can't tell you how many times Leonard Nimoy talked about that.
Right. All right. We'll move on from the insane to the completely insane. Twitter says that it will no longer enforce COVID misinformation policy. Now, I don't know if this...
For those of you who are like me that have a lot of health anxiety, this really isn't good news. Well,
I guess it's Elon's property. He can do what he wants.
But again, if you're saying that that you want to keep Twitter's status as a global communications tool, like a public, not like a public utility, but you know what? Yes,
It has
it actually
become
is
a
like a
public
public
utility.
It actually is like a public utility. It functions
Nick,
in much the same way.
Nick, Twitter. People are going to Twitter faster than they're going to traditional news sources.
So you know what? I was right the first time. It is
You
kind
were
of a public
right.
utility. But if Elon, look, we all know Elon just bought this fucking company to own the libs. He did it because he wanted to get back at all those left wing types
Well,
he thought were laughing at him.
I would just be careful. I know what you mean, but at the same time, I think he just bought it because he had the money and he didn't know what to do
He
with the
bought it
money.
because he had the money in his board.
Right, that's my point.
But if you're going to do that, if you are truly going to commit to the ideals that you espouse, but why would you want this misinformation to free speech does not also mean misinformation. That's not what free speech is.
First of all, social media misinformation has been a problem for decades. Well, it feels like decades.
Well, it's been a problem since Twitter has been a thing. But
what, 2006?
They were pretty shit at it.
I mean, Facebook had those issues. Why do you think they had to put those rules in during the election?
Facebook, I mean, fucking Mark Zuckerberg knew that was a problem and refused to fix it. Refused to fix it because it made him more money.
He kind of got reprimanded by the government. That's when it stopped.
Which is basically Congress stepping in and said, "Fix your shit, or we'll fix it for you."
Well, that was Facebook, Twitter, Google, Instagram.
They brought him and Jack Dorsey and
the Google CEO.
Yeah, who was
I can't remember his name, but
not Rishi Sunak. He's the Prime Minister of England now.
He's all I know is he's an Indian CEO of Google.
Hang on.
But I'm sure we can Google flu. Oh, Sundar Pichai. Yeah. So they brought those three in because they said, listen, assholes, you're totally deforming the internet with misinformation.
You're basically making the internet terrible. So, and the internet was already kind of terrible to begin with. So what the fuck are you doing?
But let's look at some of the things Elon has done. And by the way, you'll see this in the second part of the best of, which we'll talk about the whole best of at the end of the episode. But Elon, look at the track record already since he's coming. He reinstated Trump's Twitter account.
Which Trump did not actually reactivate that account because he wants to stay on Truth Social.
Well, it is activated. No, it's activated. He's just not using it.
It's activated. He's just not tweeting from it.
If you look up Trump's Twitter account, it's there.
It's there. It's just he's just not going back to Twitter.
And by the way,
I'm pretty sure he wanted that to happen. He wanted Trump to come back because he wanted the attention on that platform. Because if there's one thing that Trump was really good at and still is kind of good at, it's directing the media towards his tire for the 12-ring circus from hell that he's got running now.
And by the way,
and Elon was banking on that. Now that it didn't work.
By the way, he's back to almost 88 million followers on Twitter.
But even then,
no, I'm just saying that's insane. It's insane.
Banning a bunch of left-wing accounts and reinstating the accounts of frothing at the mouth right-wing crazies, basically one step removed from neo-Nazis, putting them back on the platform and getting rid of all that's not balance. You're clearly trying to shift clearly trying to shift Twitter into the conservative basically you're turning it into 8chan.
Well, let me play devil's advocate on one thing. When Dorsey was technically still running the company before he went off on 3 other business ventures, including I think Square was his also. He was doing the opposite. He was banning all the right-wing accounts. So there needs to be a balance. There needs to be
a balance, but reinstating neo-Nazis isn't balanced.
No. I totally agree with you 100%. But I'm saying is Dorsey was doing the opposite. Now,
look, Dorsey was shit at it too. I mean, he none of these tech CEOs, none of them are your.
No, they let their politics take over who they are.
None of them are your heroes. None of them are your saviors.
No,
they don't have your best interest.
I'll tell you what they are. They're rich bastards. That's what they are.
They're precisely. They're rich. They only care about what is it? Give me that sound effect because I know it's there.
Let me grab it while you're still talking. Oh, here we go.
Damn it, Nick, come on a roll.
It's all about the what?
Exactly. It's all about the money. And the sooner that people realize that these guys are not your buddies, they don't give a shit about you, the better off we'll be. What you need to understand if you're looking for what I found, well, first of all, I had to kind of stop. I had to kind of stop following a lot of the experts on Twitter because the constant doom and gloom was, well, even though it was, following the science, though it actually was true, as COVID, as COVID cases tended to go up, and we're still dealing with the pandemic. By the way,
Well,
it hasn't ended.
well,
It got my anxiety to a point where I wasn't functional. So
well, look what's happening in California now.
I had to kind of take 2 steps back and just try to stay calmer.
Wait a minute. Look what's happening in California now. The cases are back up.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. It's just, but again,
By the way, we're not scaring people about COVID numbers. We're just pointing out certain things. That's it.
Oh, please! I'm always scared about it.
No, but
I scare me more.
Because YouTube and Facebook will try to flag this as us warning people about COVID and all this shit. But no, we're just pointing out a statistical.
But if you want to be able, to get your updates you try to follow the accounts of people you trust.
This is crazy though.
Just because it says MD in the profile.
Oh, that doesn't mean shit.
They could be a fucking dentist for all you know.
Yeah, that doesn't mean shit. I used to have to deal with that when I worked at the right-wing radio station of nonsense.
You have to go with people you trust, epidemiologists, immunologists. That if you're looking to combat misinformation, you need to be able to seek out the good information. You need to know where to begin.
By the way,
that's where you begin.
So as of September, Musk took control of the platform. Twitter suspended 11,230 accounts under the new policy and challenged 11.72 million accounts. That's crazy. Almost 100,000 pieces of content were removed also. That's crazy, right?
It is.
All right.
It just sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It
All
sucks.
right. Let's move on from Twitter misinformation and let's talk about layoffs. So this is part one of the layoffs. AMC networks to undergo layoffs as CEO exits and streaming can't offset linear TV decline.
And ladies and gentlemen, that faint popping sound you heard is the sound of the streaming bubble bursting.
Pop!
Pop! And you know what? This is, again, the CEOs are going to take going to golden parachute their way to safety. And talented creatives are just going to be just lopped off, let go, released into the wilderness.
Well, listen to this. So everything that's under AMC, IFC, AMC Plus, Shudder, Acorn TV, and Sundance TV are all going to see cuts to every operating area.
And AMC is a network. They do spend a lot of money on the Walking Dead part of their schedule.
Wait a minute. James Dolan is the company's chairman?
He is one of their chairmen.
Wait, the guy, the same one who owns the Knicks?
The very same.
Oh God, he's going to run the company into the ground.
Well, he's one of their chairmen. He doesn't run the whole thing. So,
well, the CEO's already gone. Abruptly, it says they abruptly stepped down. What does that tell you? Run! It's not working. Run!
Exactly.
I mean, so it says he sent a memo to the staff forecasting, quote, a large-scale layoff as well as cuts to every operating area. Oops! Where have we heard this one before? Facebook, Instagram.
Disney did it too.
Amazon.
We talked about a hiring freeze that earlier in the year.
This is unbelievable.
Again, this is the way TV works. Well, this is the way media works, where somebody does something successful, do that. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh shit, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Abandon ship. And when they abandon ship, they get to safety, and everybody else goes down with it.
So it says across its brands, AMC Network has about 10.8 million subscribers, and the expectation is that the subs will be 12 million by the year end, with a plan to reach 20 to 25 million by 2025. But cord cutting is accelerating. In the latest quarter, the largest pay TV providers in the U.S. saw a loss of 785,000 net video subscribers.
It kind of sucks when the only thing you have on terrestrial cable is The Walking Dead, and that just ended. You pretty much dedicated yourself to, I don't know how many spin-offs of the same goddamn show, and you're surprised when people are sick of it.
I mean, how many times can you air The Walking Dead?
Until you die, apparently.
What's next? We're going to get Walking Dead 1 million?
Oh, God.
So it says Wall Street analysts were caught off guard by the CEO's abrupt exit. Gee, you mean they were expecting them to stay through the mess?
They were no, of course not. They're the first one. They're the first ones to go. But again, it's boneheaded decisions by people who make way too much money and have way too much time on their hands and think they're creative because they are rich and vice versa.
I mean,
think they are smart because they are rich and vice versa.
But I mean, our employees really shouldn't be surprised that all these companies are cost cutting, right?
No, you really shouldn't be. If you're a creative right now at Disney or an AMC or anywhere else, I'd be concerned.
I'd be concerned, or more than concerned.
Yeah.
I would almost say, "You're not firing me. I quit." At this point, I would just leave.
I mean, it's easy for us to say that because we're sitting here. I mean,
no, but I'm just saying, like, take the severance and run at this point. You can't win. I don't know. And on top of that, even more layoffs. DoorDash is laying off 1,250 corporate employees, and CNN is cost cutting. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go first?
Well, DoorDash, they're corporate employees, not the people that work for them that are technically contractors. So make sure you realize that the next time you verbally abuse somebody because they were 10 seconds late with your sushi order,
and they get no benefits or anything,
and they get no benefits, no health insurance either, or paid time off. So
because they're contractors, technically they don't have to, but I agree that they should.
They don't have. They should. But they don't have to. They should.
I don't know if you can really give them paid time off because they're contracted employees. They work when they want to work. So it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, but they should be full salaried workers, though. Or they should at least be unionized. But that's,
It's the same thing with Uber, though. You drive when...
That's neither here nor there. The cuts that are coming are basically in DoorDash corporate.
Holy shit.
Not even...
Wait a minute. DoorDash's severance package will include 17 weeks of pay, along with February 2023 stock vest for those who are eligible. What?
And they won't afford the same grace to their drivers.
Wait,
and it's people that actually make their business go.
Wait. Health benefits will run through the end of March, and COBRA coverage will remain available for up to 18 months. But that's the one you pay for, right?
That is the one. Yeah, that is the one you pay for.
And that's not really a perk. Let's see. The CEO also noted that DoorDash will set March 1st as the employment termination date. So that means basically they have to decide by March 1st. I don't know what to really say here.
Again, everybody else, everybody in the corporate environment, they get their severance, but the rank and file people,
I didn't even see this.
They're lucky to get in Gatsa.
So Lyft also was another major player in the gig economy space that said they were laying off 13% or nearly 700 employees. Listen to this list, by the way, of companies that all have had layoffs. Meta, which also includes Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, Amazon, Roku, Snapchat,
and CNN. They
wait, Patreon and Peloton. These are all Fortune 500 companies.
I know they're all Fortune 500 companies.
Think about that. All those companies had massive layoffs.
Because, but again, it's that good because it's not necessarily that it's how should I put this?
Greed?
It's corporate greed. It's corporate greed.
Because all these companies are saying
people want to get paid more for the work that they do, and they would rather just fucking lay them off than pay them.
You mean your hardworking employees don't deserve a raise for all the value they bring?
You mean I can't pay them in compliments? Backhanded compliments at that?
I mean, dude, I told you I worked at the radio station I worked at for 4 years and didn't get any raises, essentially.
They didn't even give you guys a fucking pizza party, so.
Well, I didn't give them, and I worked full-time hours as a part-timer. They didn't give a shit.
That's usually how it goes, and I'm sure there's a lot of rank and file people at CNN. Man, believe me, I actually went to their offices in New York at part of a field trip when I was in Hofstra. So there are a lot of rank and file. It's not just the on-camera talent you see.
And you know what? I bet you they said, "Oh, it's an amazing place to work. Look at our facilities." I'm sure they said,
"Oh, absolutely." They were saying, "Oh, these people are the best in the game, tops in their field." Absolutely busy as beavers, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and eager to make a difference in the world.
When I was in Atlanta, we went to the actual home base in Atlanta when I was down there to see the new Brave Stadium.
That's where most of their weekend programming comes from.
No, but that's the active home base, Atlanta.
Yeah, that is CNN HQ, technically.
So we got to take a full tour of there.
There were hundreds, if not thousands, of below-the-line people, researchers, staffers, writers, technical people, assisting with production, assisting with online. You got an entire team working the AP ticker.
Right, you have
digital, terrestrial. Again, thousands and thousands of people whose names are never fucking credited.
Well, or you see it at like the very end of those dumb credits that they roll.
If they roll them at all.
I mean,
you never get to see the people who work on Wolf Blitzer's show.
Right, but we took the tour, and it was huge. The news area, which barely had people in it. Now, this was, mind you, a couple of years ago. When did the new Brave Stadium come? Do you remember?
2017.
Yeah, so it was like 2017, 2018 when we went down there, and I just remember it was the size of 2 football fields inside there, the area at CNN.
And New York, the New York office, I think, was
not that size.
It wasn't as big, but it was it wasn't as big, but it was it was a skyscraper, so it was stacked on top of each other.
No, but this
lay it all out. It would have been.
But this also had the same offices. Which one is Robin Meade on?
What network?
Yeah, because that channel is there. HLN. Is it HLN? Yeah, I think it's HLN.
Yeah, I think so.
So HLN is in the same. We went into the studio where she does the show. They took us on the set, obviously because it was on the weekend. So we saw HLN, we saw CNN, we saw some TBS, all that stuff. They all share studios there. But this is going to get worse.
It's just pissing me off.
This is going to get worse before it gets better. How many times have you heard that phrase in the last 3 years?
Too many times.
But unfortunately, you're going to see more cuts before people start hiring again. Ask Disney what their thoughts on that is right now.
Oh God.
But all right, we'll do quickly 2 more stories here. This one I just find hilarious too. Kansas Cameron Bure solidifies falling out with Jodie Sweetin.
So when last we left this, Candace Cameron Bure was
something very stupid,
doing her own channel.
No, it's not her own channel. She was on Hallmark.
She was making her own movies, and
she was making a fortune doing Hallmark Christmas movies.
She's not going to do them anymore because she wants to do her own stuff, and she's not going to have any.
She switched channels.
Content,
she switched channels,
which basically means no. and she basically said lifestyles that she doesn't approve of, meaning LGBTQ, that kind of stuff.
Anything that has to do with same sex.
Anything that has to do with same sex or transgender anything. So people, understandably, got more than a little pissed off,
including her Full House / Fuller House coworker.
So I didn't see what Jodie Sweetin actually. So what did they do?
I'm trying to find the exact comment because I can't find it. But so the saga of traditional marriage goes on as Candace Cameron Bure unfollows her co-star Jodie Sweetin, who decided to step into the chat and seemingly take sides. The actress made it clear she will not waver when it comes to her values, and there's nothing wrong with standing in what is important. There's also nothing wrong with cleaning house. Bure hopped on social media and made it a point to unfollow her former co-star. The shady move comes after Sweden also stood her ground and made her own comments regarding traditional marriages. And also Jojo Siwa, you know who that is too.
Yeah.
She jumped on that bandwagon saying basically what's wrong with it.
She's gay, so
this is bizarre. And
no. You know what? It's not bizarre because we've been seeing
no. I'm saying it's bizarre the way she's handling this whole thing. Candace Cameron Bure.
Bizarre the way she's handling the stuff, but I guess there ain't no hate like Christian love, I guess.
Yeah, but really, that's as you would say, that's the proverbial rock you're going to stand on.
That's the hill you want to die on.
You want to die on like I'm only going to do traditional,
but even in a business sense, a larger audience. You want to be able to appeal to the largest audience possible, right?
I mean, part of the story we left off on last week was Hillary Burton, who called her a bigot.
But again, it's hard to dispute that because you know what? You seem to have this image in your head as gay and trans people as immoral, sex crazed perverts for some strange fucking reason, where it's like, gay couples can't be normal.
That was like what you said, like, oh well, maybe they just exercise a little more.
But again, because Jesus said so, she did, which is actually not anything that Jesus taught. So anybody who actually says that is lying to you.
See, I didn't realize we missed this quote from last week. Apparently, in the past, Candace Cameron Bure didn't have a problem with the LGBTQ plus community.
But no, now that she has set her sights on that sweet MAGA money, she wants.
Well, we don't know if it's politically related. We don't know that.
The MAGA aligned money.
But I wouldn't say
the MAGA at heart money.
I don't know. I'd be careful with that because again, we don't know what her political points of view are.
The Jesus take the wheel set. Is that better?
Yeah, but that's not politics. That's religion-based stuff.
But again,
I'm not agreeing with her. Let me preface that up front first.
I mean, you know what? God bless you. You want to go the way of Kevin Sorbo? You want to go the way of Kevin Sorbo?
No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It says in the past, Bure has been open to working with all people despite who they lay down beside at night. She said it openly and in a positive light, assuring she is 100% on board with projects that specifically include the LGBTQ plus community.
And she said that?
That was a past quote, apparently. And she also said, I support all things that we go through as human beings and would love all characters to explore whatever issues that are current in our culture and our society.
What happened to that one? What happened to that, Cameron? What happened to that, Candace Cameron?
All I would say is, oops.
I guess times change, don't they? God, this is ridiculous.
But Bure got mad because Sweetin, her own co-star, called her out.
Well, again, you play stupid games.
You
know what happens? You win stupid prizes.
I mean, I can't defend her here. As much as I love Full House growing up,
you can't. I mean, this is just stupid. This is just absurd. It's 2022. Come on, can't we leave this shit in the past? Can't we let the past be the past and just don't be a dick?
I mean,
seriously, if that, regardless of your religion, that's the one commandment we can all get behind. The one commandment. You know what? Let's put it on a stone tablet. The one commandment: don't be a dick.
I mean, this is not the early 2010s anymore. And I hate to say that because in the early 2010s, she wouldn't have been crucified like this.
But it should not be a controversial opinion in 2022.
No, I
that
agree
the
with you.
LGBTQ community are actual human beings with, with thoughts and fears and things that they want to get done all themselves, and not some kind of, boogeyman that you use to scare children with.
No, but she still thinks this is like the early 2000s or the early 2010s, where she can just say whatever she wants and nothing happens.
It shouldn't even have been like that back then.
Agreed. We're on the same page, but she thinks that this is still earlier times where I could say whatever the fuck I want, and I'm a celebrity. I could do what I want.
God,
that's the problem here. By the way, she was making 3 to 4 Hallmark Christmas movies a year. She could have, if she just kept her mouth shut.
You know what? Take him and give him to Alyssa Milano instead. I'm sure she doesn't have a problem with it. I'm sure she doesn't have a problem with the gay, lesbian, or trans community.
No, she does. She does. I can't stand her to be
Milano.
Is she the political one also on social media? I thought that was her.
Yeah, but I don't think she was anti-gay though.
No, she's just a political P word, which I don't really feel like saying because that's not appropriate. I'll say a lot of things.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What? No, not that word. Not that word.
Oh.
Jesus. A PR word.
Oh.
Not the PU word. No, I wasn't going that direction because I don't want to hear it from this audience. So, I don't know. It's bizarro world, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. You know what? Fortunately, I agree with Jodie Sweetin in this case. Yeah. And Jodie Sweetin has done some horrible, shitty things, but she recovered at least.
But it's easy to be on the right side of history.
Yes,
it's easy to be on the right side of history when it's this.
I agree with you. All right, one last story, and I want to end on a funny note because this has been depressing. Florida woman sues Kraft Foods for $5 million for, quote, misleading directions on a Velveeta mac and cheese cup.
Because apparently it said on the side of the little plastic. Now, she's not talking about the box stuff. Let me be clear about that. The stuff in a box where you in a cup where you take the lid off, take the seasoning and the cheese sauce out, fill the thing with water, and then put it in the microwave for like 3.5 minutes. Apparently, it said ready in 3.5 minutes. And she's suing Kraft
it took longer.
$5 million because it took longer than 3.5 minutes.
By the way, you do know on most of those microwavable things, not just mac and cheese, anything, that's what they call suggested time.
Suggested directions. Suggested cook time.
By the way, you might like it longer. You might want it in longer or less.
Believe me, it's not going to take 3.5 minutes. It's going to take significantly longer if you, not necessarily if you want it to taste good, because you're not eating it because it. If you want to eat, you're not eating it out of a microwave because you want it to taste good. Then, if you were going to do that, then you'd eat it out of the box. But if it's a microwave, I've got 5 minutes to eat. I need to have something in my body. This is it.
What was that other one called? Cup of Noodles is the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, Cup of Noodles.
I see that like everywhere. Like when you need
I'm pressed for time, and it's
gross.
And it's uncouth to eat directly from the cereal box.
Or what is it? Like the ramen noodles is another one also.
Yep. You're eating that. It's like, how fast can I get this amount of food in me and then just throw it out?
So it says Kraft issued a statement to CNN in response to the lawsuit.
All the desperate, really.
Wait, so they issued a statement to CNN in response to the lawsuit telling the outlet, quote, "We are aware of this frivolous lawsuit and will strongly defend against the allegations in the complaint."
So this lawsuit, I'm just telling you right now, spoiler alert, people, this lawsuit is probably going to be thrown out fast. It's probably going to be thrown out so fast the judge will break the sound barrier.
By the way, speaking of obvious, I mean, that's all that this person's looking for. By the way,
no, honestly, I do believe that they genuinely believe that 3.5 minutes was and didn't read the fine print.
By the way, you know what she'll get in the settlement? The amount of the cup.
Yeah.
So what is that? $1.32?
Yeah, $1.125. There you go.
Here you go. We settled.
Go nuts. Go nuts.
You can't make this up. You really. Do you remember those commercials for the Kraft mac and cheese with the dinosaur way back when?
Mm-hmm.
And like he would just
the dinosaur is the lawyer.
Oh,
now, Your Honor, you have to understand that the plaintiff's claims are completely spurious, furious, and it's absolute bullshit, is what it is. So I motion that this case be dismissed with extreme prejudice. I'm not made out of cheese powder for nothing. I've got places to be.
Oh my god.
That is probably what he's made out of.
I want to know where she got the 5 million number from. She pulled it out of her ass like she did the mac and cheese.
Could be.
Hey, you never know. I mean, mac and cheese is pretty much shit.
It depends. It depends. You gotta, if you're gonna make it from the box, you gotta do it right.
Wait a minute. You realize what you just said is like an oxymoron?
If you're gonna make it from the box, you gotta do it. There's a way to do it. There's a trick.
There's no. First of all, that's an oxymoron. You just said good mac and cheese from a box.
Yes, I understand it. I understand it's not good. And the best mac and cheese is the one you can get from a restaurant or the one you can make yourself. I truly understand that.
I don't remember the last time I had mac and cheese, to be honest with you. It's been a long time.
You should eat more mac and cheese. If there's one thing you can take away from this episode, it's that I told our viewers that you should eat more mac and cheese.
Hey, Kraft.
Life is way too short for you not to be eating mac and cheese.
Hey, Kraft, we'll eat more mac and cheese on here if you give us a sponsor.
I'll do it on camera.
I'll eat mac and cheese. I have no problem with that. Just maybe not every week, because maybe I want to watch a diet.
I'll do it shirtless. I'll do it shirtless and rub the spoon on my face.
All right. I think we got to end the episode here. I think we've exhausted our mad to happy meter.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow the show on social media. Make sure you follow this show across the network as well, youtube.com/ETB network. Also, follow the show on social media at Beyond the Bench 1, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow the network, the Empty the Bench Network, at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at ETB Network. Anything else, Nick? Oh, before we go as well, I said I was going to promote this. The best of Beyond the Bench in its entirety. This one is part 1, January to June. Will come out when we said December. Actually, it comes out on December 24th, Christmas Eve.
So Christmas Eve at 3 p.m. So Saturday,
right at 3 p.m.
Saturday, December 24th at 3 p.m. will be the first part of our January to June best of Beyond the Bench for 2022.
Actually, we just got done recording our best of part 1.
We just got done recording that. So make sure you tune in for that and the week after, because the last 2 weeks of the year are the ones that we take off here at the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. So, so in lieu of doing episodes then, we'll be doing Best of Beyond the Bench 2022. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about what we've got planned in the year ahead as we get a little closer to that.
Yeah.
So just make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're looking for the notifications as well, youtube.com/ETB Network, like I just had up before. But yeah, I think that just about does it for episode 55 of Beyond the Bench. A few more weeks to go. What do we have? 2 more shows for this year, or 3 more? I think 3 more, right?
No, that's 2.
2 more. 2 more for this year. Live shows, I should say, and then we'll give you a best of, and then we'll ring in 2023.
You're going to be ringing it in with us because the second part's going to be in New Year's Eve.
Well, right before New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so make sure you stay with us to flush the toilet on 2022. And so that's going to do it for this installment of Beyond the Bench. And for my venerable co-host, Mr. Nick Morgasen, I am Nick Fodera, and I'm telling you good night, everybody. See you back on the bench.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for episode 56.